We're going to call this City Commission meeting to order on February 12th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. We'll have roll call by our city clerk.
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Here.
Commissioner Grunder,
Here.
Commissioner Howell, Commissioner White.
Here.
All right, we have invocation and the pledge by Vice Mayor Bloodworth.
Let us stand. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord God, I thank you for this day. Lord, I thank you for this town. Lord, I thank you for the people that are working here with this city, Lord, that are trying to keep this town moving forward. Lord, I just ask that you be with them as they do their daily jobs, protect them, watch over and care for them, Lord. As our first responders, our fire and police, Lord, just keep a safeguard around them, Lord, when they're out on a call. Lord, protect them, Lord, and bring them back safely to their families. Lord, we thank you for everything you do for us, and we just ask also that you be with our veterans and our military overseas, Lord, and that's serving this country, Father. Thank you for us being here in this best country in the world, Lord. Thank you so much. I pray also for a special prayer, Lord, that you guide some rain our way, Lord. We need it. Our farmers need it for their animals and our yards, Father. We just ask for that. All these things I ask, Father, in your Son's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll have approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, special presentation number 1. Presentation of a specific. Why am I tongue-tied today? Presentation for appreciation of Teacher of the Year presented by Commissioner Whites.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you allowing me to do this. I wish we could start out every meeting like this. This is a fabulous way to start. This certificate states, Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly awarded to Barbara Brock in appreciation of your remarkable contributions and commitment to the students at High Springs Community School and the students of our community. Your efforts had made a significant impact, and we are grateful for your dedication and service. Signed, Mayor Andrew Miller on February 12th, 2026. And Mrs. Brock is here. Her principal, Mrs. Roberson, is here. 2 of her former students are right here next to her, my older 2 kids. And I can definitely say that she is, if I could offer, just an absolute magic maker. She teaches eighth grade science, and she had a hard time with my man cub. He did not engage until she figured out a way to meet him where he lived. She's the kind of teacher that will find a way to connect with every student where they are. And once he figured out he could use power tools in her class, it was magic from then. Screwdrivers, handheld tools, not power tools, building the water towers. But she requires her students to keep colorful, neat laboratory notebooks. And then she met my older daughter, and it was a match made in heaven because she's all color and all artistic. So we're so grateful to have you here, and I am so honored to be able to present this to you. I don't know if Ms. Roberson, you want to say anything about Mrs. Brock? I know that you get to work with her every day. Sure. Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all so much for having us come tonight, and I'm so glad that you all as a community are recognizing greatness that is right here. I am also a proud member of this community, and so I just couldn't be even more proud to be her principal. And I've only known her since August because I just got appointed principal at that time. But ever since I've met Ms. Brock, I mean, she just comes with so much passion. You've said a lot of things that I was going to bring up tonight, but just she has so much passion on a daily basis that she works to just engage kids in every single way that she possibly can. with the content, and it's hard, and she'll say this too. It's hard to get a room full of 8th graders to get really excited about, a very specific science content that she's got to get them to understand. But she finds a way to get to every kid, and she always thinks of students first when she's planning any lesson. The center of every lesson is her kids, every single time. And you can see that when, as she teaches and continues to reach kids, and she just continues to inspire kids every single day. And I'm so lucky to be her principal. So, yeah, thank you.
Yes. Could we do a picture? Would you mind?
All right, great way to start a meal. This next presentation goes to the Employee of the Year. This plaque goes to someone who is the true definition of an MVP. This year, we couldn't have did it without you. You made such a difference here in the community of High Springs. And we all sitting up here, I can't speak for you all, but I'll say for me, coming in the barbershop and just how much you would tell me about what was going on in the city and how passionate you were, I couldn't go without choosing you for Employee of the Year. So this plaque goes to Mr. Jason in Public Works.
I'm not going to say much. I'll make this short and sweet. Thank you. This is very unexpected. I know there's a lot more of us that deserve it just as much as I do. We work hard, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Well, we do want a picture with you.
Don't go anywhere. Not that quick.
Mr. Mayor, do you mind? Jason, I
don't
just,
mind.
huh?
I mean, I don't mind.
Jason, I just want to say thank you for what you've done for this city and what you've tried to do to get by on a slim budget, less people. You don't have enough employees and equipment. I appreciate what you've been doing for the citizens and keeping this sewer running, water running to everybody's homes. I know it's been a struggle for you. I appreciate what you did in your Public Works Department, man. Thank you, and you guys.
All right, we have no unfinished business today. Citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and Mr. Marshall. Someone forwarded me a post on social media, and I'd like to get clarification. These are texts between the former Public Works Director and Commissioner Grunder. They read, this is Mr. Grunder. Has Diane been reinstated? This was on March 13th, 2024. The former Public Works Director says, sorry, but yes. Mr. Grunder replies, I can go over it if you want to. I really hated to do it, but our attorney told me I needed to bring up, I'm sorry, that was the director, said, but our attorney told me I needed to bring her back. Mr. Grunder said, okay, I trust you when she can come back. Our Public Works former director said, Monday, Ashley and Bruce did not do any paperwork on her evaluation or written up, so it was all hearsay. Mr. Grunder then wrote, okay, we need to get all the stuff documented. That way, if it happens again, we can follow through. To which the Public Works former director says, true, I write everything down when I talk to employees. I learned the hard way a long time ago. To which Mr. Grunder emphasized that. Our former Public Works Director then said, if she does anything wrong on my watch, it will be written up. And Mr. Grunder loved that comment. Then he said, Mr. Grunder, I will get with Ashley and attempt to get some sort of a write-up. And at this point, I'd like to say that our former city manager was no longer in her position at that point. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Mayor, if we can get some clarification of what Commissioner Grunder's goals were. This is very troubling. Personal records fabricated after the fact is very troubling. And I'd like to get some clarification on that, please, and thank you.
Mayor, may I respond?
We're going to wait for all the citizen comments.
David Lynch, the issue of selling the Scout Hut. I beg the city manager and the commissioners not to sell the Scout Hut. This is of tremendous historical significance for High Springs. That's where I was a Boy Scout. Something else of tremendous historical significance is our concrete streets. I beg you not to pave over the concrete streets. They are of tremendous historical significance, the streets that I walked on as a child. High Springs Brewing. Does the city manager and the commissioners want the name of their city associated with a product that kills 7,000 people each day? this might be the appropriate time to say this, but I said it one time before. But Jason Keitel was working in my backyard and he wanted to smoke a cigarette. And he asked my permission to smoke a cigarette. So that man's got class.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and to each and every person in this room tonight in your respected orders. My name's Raymond Mobley. I'm a local fella, not really important, but I just wanted to have this opportunity within this meeting to see if I can make a request and an appeal to each of us who have, I would like to say, skin in the game and have an interest into what High Springs eventually is developed or cultivated or driven to be. About 10 years ago, I stood here and I said this one statement when Manager Booth and different ones were here. I said, the only constant in life is change. Our only choice is to align ourselves with the side of change that either benefits us or bothers us. The two requests I'd like to put before this board is this one. I'd like to request that we address the response time regarding vetting development requests. I'm currently having conversation, not to name names, but with the jurisdictions that have authority, with a simple request in my mind. I have a single lot that cannot be subdivided, split, or combined to equate to the 7,500 square foot required for the minimum if you're going to build or develop and tie into the city sewer. 25th Terrace, where the neighborhood housing built those houses, we were the ones who helped them to get that going. We had 2 acres, or 1.8. We divided down to 3. We found out through Bill Whitlock and the city public works when the development would have sewer over, that it wasn't even water at that time. When it worked out where each function would culminate after the sale, we told them you can buy the 3, but you can split them to 6. It's an effort for us to develop housing. Every economic base is built upon either something you have that people want or something that you have to go and get and bring to suffice. That's pretty much it. And I doubt the Gators are going to move the stadium over here. So what I'm asking is, the second thing, I'd like to know what the 5, 10, and 15-year development plan is for this city, because I'm negotiating a pretty sizable development to bring here, but I can tell you developers who don't see that particular area being properly maintained or a clear place for it to grow, they're not in love with what we have. And I'll say this and I'll sit down. Probably the most valuable asset, maybe in Alachua County, but definitely in High Springs, is a few miles up the street where that water is bottled eventually and shipped all over the world. If we have the opportunity to connect every future development to the city sewer, then there's never a concern of surface runoff of water finding its way through seepage into the most valuable asset in this community. And I'll leave it at that. I thank you all for everything you guys are doing.
All right. Any other citizen comments? All right. Any commissioner responses?
Yes, sir. That was am I allowed to, are y'all good with me talking about it? Nothing crazy, just the truth. That was a conversation with the acting city manager at the time, completely well within my right to have at the same time. We had I'd been kept apprised of a situation where we had an employee who was put on suspension. it was brought to my attention that maybe things weren't done the right way on our part. I thought we needed to have some accountability because they weren't documenting things maybe appropriately at the time. And so I wanted to make sure that moving forward we could. To label that as any kind of fabrication, I think is a gross misrepresentation of that and quite a stretch. No, it's not right there that I was going to fabricate somebody's personnel
Commissioner
file.
Grunda.
That's not the case at all. So I'm sorry you took it that way, but that is not the case at all. Thank you.
After citizen comments are over with, you can't talk, Ms. Janice. I'm sorry. Any other
Mr.
commissioner
Mayor,
response?
if I may please, Mr. Mobley, if you wouldn't mind, would you be willing to give your cell phone number to our city clerk so that I could reach out to you so we could meet? I'd like to follow up with you to see, to make sure I get some more in-depth information from you if possible, please. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, ma'am. Mr. Mobley, what area were you talking about? The area of the city that you're talking about? Yes, sir. Please.
There are a couple. One, we're looking at the 52 lots on Post Springs Road. Right now, it's currently, I think, zone agricultural. You're looking at, you've got livestock there right now. And my understanding, I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I never try to make it about me, but I just think it's important. I worked 4 or 5 years as a deputy appraiser with this county. I'm a 20-year retired UPS driver. I'm a 3rd-generation builder. My son's a 4th-generation builder, UF grad, all of that. I'm broker associate since '97. My background is real estate and real estate development. When you look at the economic base that we're talking about with these lots out here, I spoke with Jason, gave me some good information regarding the sewer system. I think it was something that required something like an 8, and I said, well, what would it take for the next person to be able to tie into the continuous, sustainability, so that the next person is able to benefit, and we pay once, and everybody pay it forward. Forward thinking in that direction has a way of becoming contagious, and I can tell you, people with money who see forward thinking from you guys, they come in and they support that. They come in with the money to support that. What hurts a developer is when they have to come in here and take half a year to get a no, half a year to get a soft yes, half a year to get, well, we have to relook at it. Makes it difficult. The lots that I'm talking about for splitting, for tax purposes, I was told, well, you can only have 7,500. Well, they're overall for 225. I was made aware that the sewer line's damaged. I get that. But the cost to repair that for the overall greater good of our community, to me, pales in comparison to the benefit that we all get. I have a vested interest. We own more lots than that. We own land in different places. But before we can develop, we need to know what that cost is going to be so we can basically determine if our highest and best use, and all these investors want the same thing. They want to know how much money they're going to get back.
Mr. Mobley, I appreciate it. I'd love to sit down and speak with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioner responses? All right. Moving on to new business, item number 1, discuss, consider, and act on amendment to the City of High Springs Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual to adjust PTO accrual for fire personnel.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mayor, Commissioners. What you have before you is a change in the way that the firefighters will be accruing PTO. Currently, they accrue based on a 20/80 yearly hourly process, which is what a 40-hour employee generally accrues at. So to be fair with that, because firefighters take 24 hours off at a time, currently they have to use 16 hours of their time, and then we pay out an additional 8 hours to make the whole 24 hours. What I'm proposing is that we take the 2912 number, which is what a firefighter would generally work per year. divide that, and it actually comes out to 1.4% more per year that a firefighter works than a general employee does. When the firefighters take off, they take off at that 24 hours at a time, sometimes 12, but most of the time 24 hours. Making this adjustment where their accrual rate goes a little higher would allow them to take a full 24 hours off at a time and complete and use their PTO rather than getting the extra 8 hours pay. So it would be hour for hour like a general 40-hour employee burns time. When I take off 10 hours because I'm off for a 10-hour day because we work 4 days a week. If I was a 40-hour employee that worked 8 hours a day, I would take 8 hours. This would adjust their PTO accrual so that they still receive the same amount of time they're allowed off now, but they would burn it at 24 hours at a time. So it would be hour for hour. Does that make sense to everybody? It's more of a traditional way that firefighters accrue and use their PTO time. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Sure.
So, Chief, you're saying that with this, seeing how we don't have to pay that extra hours, is it going to lower the cost to the city? Like, if
I believe, yeah, there will be a cost savings because currently we pay out an extra 8 hours. They use 16 hours of their time, and then we pay them for the additional 8.
on top of paying somebody overtime to cover the shift.
Are you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I looked at these numbers, Chief, and at first they seem like they're really big, but when you think about them as a 24-hour shift, this equates to less than 1 year, 8.6 shifts per year.
Right.
So it's not even what we would think is like 2 weeks paid time
Cor-
off.
Correct.
In the less than 1 year, though, is there a probationary period before the employee, if there's a new employee, is there a probationary period before they start to accrue? Or is that day one?
They
We don't
accrue
even
on day
have-
one.
We don't even have like a probationary period. This is a really good deal. I mean, in the private sector, this is a great deal. But I mean, the numbers look unusually large, but they're really not when you amortize it out over a 24-hour shift.
Yeah, when you consider they're using 24 hours at a time,
Right.
that burns up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they only work 10, and when you really think about it, they work 10 shifts a month. So, you know.
And then over 20 years, we're only looking at 18 shifts per year.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
That's technically less than
a little more than 3
yeah.
weeks for
Correct.
20 years. So that's
Correct.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
in normal people's
In normal
bank.
people, yeah, right.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Sir.
Mr. Marshall, I'd like to know what's your opinion on this? Where do you feel we need to be in this picture here?
So me, Angela, and Joe sat down, and this is when we started talking about what we're gonna do with the PTO and the Kelly days for the fire department. And they did the mathematical computation of what it cost, or how much they should accrue per shift, or how many they get per shift. That's a good accrual rate, and it makes sense. I support it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask one more question. So, Mr. Marshall, with this PTO setup and taking Kelly days out of the picture, operational costs are going down.
Correct.
Okay.
Especially with the loss, or taking away of the Kelly days.
Kelly days, yeah. Chief, I appreciate that. I know that the fire department has been asked a lot in terms of cutting costs, and I really appreciate this.
We're doing our best and still trying to be fair to our firefighters.
Yes, sir.
So.
Thank you.
Right. We'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the revised PTO policy for fire department.
Second.
All right. Any citizen comments? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. New business item number 2. Discuss, consider, and act on resolution number 2026-B.
Mr. Mayor, this is resolution number 2026-B, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and Woodard and Curran for continued engineering services, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date. If I may, Mr. Mayor, this is one of 3 contracts that you'll see that are, for the most part, the exact same. Have very slight deviations, mostly as to like legal technicalities. Happy to go over those with you all if you have questions. But these are all of the engineering services. So each of these agreements will provide for you to be able to select each of these engineers for any projects that you have, but don't require you to use any particular services.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question? Kirsten, this may be a question for you. I spoke to Mr. Marshall about it briefly. In all 3 of these, I know we're just talking about the first one right now, there's no rate schedule in here. There's nothing in here that indicates principal engineer, senior engineer, EI. How do we know?
Yeah, so happy to answer that. So each of the, and if, as we go through, I can certainly defer to each of the individuals to go into more depth, but these contracts are sort of our broad overarching contract. They allow us to select these individuals without going out for bid every time that we need an engineer. When we get quotes, we call it like a, I think we refer to it as like a work order in each of the contracts. So we would reach out, we would say, this is our project, we need a work order for X, Y, and Z, and then the rates would come to us at that point. These were the result of a request for qualifications, which essentially is just like, show us that you're qualified to do this kind of work, and then we have the option to reach out to each of these individuals regarding our specific projects in order to see what their rates would be at that specific time, because we don't have, for instance, each of these contracts can last quite a while. And so the idea is that in 10 years, if we were to pick one of these, the rates may be different than they are right now. So we have qualified engineers that we award contracts to, and then of the qualified engineers, we can select amongst them and get quotes from them on each project.
Okay, so then process-wise, and Mr. Marshall, and this may be a question for him, if we had a wastewater project we were bidding on, would we send an RFQ, RFP to all 3? And then do we have requirements? Mr. New says no.
You don't have to send a formal bid document. So this is you essentially now have 3 engineers that work for the city. If you were to accept all these, you would have 3 engineers that work for the city. And you don't have to bid out any projects after that. You go to them and you say, this is the project that we have. And again, anyone feel free to correct me if they don't believe that that's what their understanding of the contract. But this, from the city attorney's perspective, that's what these contracts do, is they create for you the ability to reach out to each of these individuals and get them to work on a specific project, the specifics of the project to come at the time that the project needs to be done. Does that make sense?
And does this prohibit us from requesting bids from all 3?
No.
So we could.
You could.
And when we're in that procurement process at that stage, can we mandate that invoices are all time and materials and not lump sum? Can we get into those details then?
Yes, so the negotiations on the specifics of each project will be for each project.
So why wouldn't we put that here in the boilerplate for all 3? I mean, if the contracts are essentially the same, basically just allowing us to engage in work with any of these 3 firms, why would we not put our expectations out now in terms of, invoicing, billing practices? Some may do lump sum, some may do time and materials. I get why engineering firms want lump sum. As a city person, I do not prefer that. So can we make those, why wouldn't we make those specifications here?
Generally, in your overarching contracts, you want to, it's sort of like I would make it analogous to your charter for the city. Your overall engineering contract, we don't know what's going to come down the line, right? We're not sure what we will want to agree to in the future. And what we tend to do when we get into more specifics in these sort of broad spectrum agreements is we lock ourselves down to something, and then later on we're going to say, oh, well, we need an addendum because now there's X, Y, and Z. We have the benefit of now 3 qualified engineers, if you all accept each of these contracts, that we can reach out to and say, this is what we're looking for. Does that make sense? Instead of trying to guess now about what may be, because there may be an incident, I'm not sure what it would be, but I've have run into many times in my career an incident where we're like, that'll never happen, and then it does happen, and we say, oh, well, we wish we'd known that was going to occur. But the idea is to remain very, very general here, and then we can get specifics later on so that we don't tie ourselves down too closely to something right now before we have a specific project in mind. Because right now we don't have, this project or that project.
Now, I guess my question would be, now, if we locked in all 3, will we be limited to only those 3? So say that we just say, well, we hate all of them. No offense. Like, will we be locked into all 3?
You can put out another request for qualifications and get another engineer. If there's a project and you go to these engineers and you say, give us what this will be, and you don't like any of those, you put out another RFQ and get another engineer and go that way. Obviously, I think everyone's perfectly qualified, not to say that anyone's not, but that is certainly within your right.
Mr. Mayor, is there any money that we're going to be paying out just to keep 3
Not right now.
right
Nope.
now? We're good to go, so that they're right here at our beck and call to do what we need to do.
Basically makes it such that we're able to, because obviously this process has taken quite a while, right? The RFQ went out a while ago, so imagine if we had something that we really needed to get done right now, we needed an engineer. It's kind of a pain to go through the whole process every time you need one. So having a couple that we've already competitively procured gives us those options and helps us move faster.
With that being said, are there, the 3 we have here, are we currently using any one of these right now? Do we use them for anything right now?
We use Mid Tower, and we use Kimberly Horn. Woodin Curran, with the one that you're discussing now, would be an additional new one.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, so it's kind of, I'm going to bring back Mr. Mobley. I know he left, but kind of these contracts allow us to go faster. Response times quicken.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution number 2026-B.
Would you have anything you would like to say?
Oh, absolutely. One, my name is Mike New. I work with Woodard and Curran, and I've been working on these types of projects from y'all's side of the fence for my entire career, save the last year, so more than 35 years. And just a whole overview to elected officials on how selecting engineering services in the state of Florida is very unique. The Florida legislature generally doesn't tell municipalities how to do procurement for services. They leave that to your own devices. You write up a purchasing policy. There are 4 professions in the state of Florida that they say, no, this is really important, and we are going to tell everybody how to procure those. And they call that the Competitive Consultants Negotiation Act. It applies only to engineers, architects, landscape architects, which I haven't figured out how they got in there, and surveying. But the general idea is that if an accountant messes up, there's a bookkeeping error, and that's a problem. If an engineer messes up, a bridge caves in, people die. So the Florida legislature said those 4 professions, it's important enough that you have to go through a certain process, which is qualifications based. And one of the things that, again, I'm going on, but just to make something to a question that was brought up earlier, the first step of qualifications based is we're going to find out who's qualified and we're going to rank them. And y'all have gone through that step. The next step, according to the statute, is negotiating price. And so we finished step one. We have a contract. If City of High Springs wants work to be done, Jeremy or your utility director would ask one of the three firms to submit a proposal, and we negotiate that, which is step two of the process. One thing that the state statute doesn't permit you to do is negotiate with multiple firms at the same time. State statute says you can ask firm A to give you a proposal, and you can negotiate price. If you're unsuccessful, you can move on to firm number two, but you can't negotiate with both of them at the same time. So I know the benefit of what you're talking about, and I'm certainly a believer in competitive pricing. That's the way the statute's written, and so for the state of Florida since the early 1970s when that act was put into place, that's how we do it. And so if this comes up and we're approved and the other two firms are approved, Jeremy will pick the firm, or the utility director would pick the firm that they think is most qualified. And we need a water main extension down County Road 336 to the interstate. Would you give us a proposal? And we provide that, and Jeremy will use all the resources available to him to determine whether it's competitive. Typically, it is percentage of estimated construction cost, which is why you're not seeing hourly rates. An engineering firm like Woodard & Kern or CPH or Kimley Horn has 100 different people that can work on a project, and the hourly rate that they bill out probably changes every 6 months. Most of those fees are determined as a percentage of construction cost. If you're borrowing money from the state of Florida through their SRF program, it is absolutely determined through percentage of project cost. So when you go through the planning process or the design process for wastewater treatment plant expansion, you're going to have an estimated that's a $20 million project, and DEP is going to say that in our estimation, the value of that work is worth no more than 8.5% of $20 million. And if I turn in a proposal for more than 8.5% of $20 million, state of Florida will say, that's fine, y'all can pay Woodard & Kern what you would like, but we're authorizing 8.5%, and you'll be on the hook for the rest of it. And so the engineering firms in the state of Florida generally know the rules to the game, especially when the state of Florida is the bank. And so if you ask Woodard & Kern, CPH, and Kimley Horn for a proposal for your wastewater plant design, I can almost guarantee you they're all going to be pretty darn close to 8.5% of construction value, because we know that's what the bank's going to permit. They're not going to permit 12% unless we can articulate and explain why. So that answers the questions of why you don't see hourly rate. We are happy to provide work proposals in any format that you wish, but the downside of hourly rate is there's generally no cap. So if the work scope, you get in the middle of something and it's way more complex, or it doesn't, there's no incentive to the engineer to work expeditiously. If you have a lump sum proposal, and I would say in my career, 95% of the projects that I've done have been lump sum proposals. You get lump sum proposals, you negotiate it. If it goes well and you can do it quickly, then the engineer may make a little money, but usually they don't go so well. Normally things come up that you didn't anticipate and you put more time and energy into it, but the municipality that issued the PO, they're covered, they're protected. The PO amount is the maximum amount unless we can justify a reasonable cause for why we're needing a change order for additional time, and that has to hold water. We're going to have to live with the lump sum proposal that we offered you and that you issued a PO back to us. So that long step. And I'd say the main thing that I came tonight was to tell you that Woodard & Kern is extremely excited for an opportunity to work with High Springs. We've been in the state of Florida for 14 or 15 years, and we are developing a really robust client base. And it seems like as we've developed, our specialty is communities the size of High Springs, because we are experts in what we call fiscal solutions, finding funding for utility projects. And which is way different than applying for a grant. developing a fiscal solution for a project, which is what's required now, we will look at every funding source available, including will your rates support debt service? Will your capacity charges support debt service? And we'll make recommendations, but in today's environment, the state of Florida won't loan you the money for a wastewater plant expansion if your capacity charges are too low, your impact fees are too low. And I've had that conversation regularly with FDEP that, hey, we're all ready to go on this, but your capacity fees are significantly lower than are suitable for you to make the debt service and repay these loans. And until you raise your capacity fees, you'll not see any money from DEP. That's a regular conversation. So we specialize in finding funding. Newberry just moved forward last Monday night, built an $80 million wastewater plant. And I was there from the planning stages. During the planning stages, that's a 1.2 million gallon per day plant. That same 1.2 million gallon per day plant was estimated to be $21 million. And we were trying to find funding for a $21 million project. State law changed. The level of treatment required went up significantly through a program called BMAP. I'm certain you've heard of BMAP. And all of a sudden, we went from standard treatment to we got to remove nutrients. That doubled the price on the spot. So our $21 million plant went to $40 million. Then COVID hit. Then price escalation hit. And Newberry competitively bid it, received quotations, $80 million project. And it's 10 times greater than the largest contract they've ever done. But Newberry has 32 different funding sources for that project, and it was found through a firm like Woodard & Kern. Actually, it was found through a firm called Woodard & Kern. And so they have 32 different funding sources. They have raised their capacity charges. Their capacity charges are going to be a little bit north of $14,000 per home to connect to the wastewater system. And the state of Florida mandates that. They also entered into 6 development agreements that developers agree that they're going to pay capacity charges whether they pull building permits or not. So Newberry was told you cannot move forward on that construction project until that is done. And that delayed the project for a full year, getting those development agreements in place. Funding utility infrastructure projects is a very complex, sophisticated thing. Our firm excels at it, and we look forward to working with you on projects. And a little bit of foreshadowing, I'm on your agenda for the next City Commission meeting, and we're going to talk about a $20 million water project that we've been able to secure some funding for the City of High Springs and share with you how that would work. And I'm very excited about the opportunity that it offers, but understand that it's a long way out. It's a process to go through. So there's opportunity there, but certainly not necessarily any burden for you all. And after that long-winded few minutes, I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have about this specific contract.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. So what you're saying is that if we have a project we want to do, we cannot get competitive bids from the 3 engineering firms that we have contracts with?
Not according to Florida statutes, you cannot.
And let me clarify that. You can get from all 3 firms. You've got to go in order, right? You
Correct.
choose first and you try to negotiate. And then if you can't get a good price, then you can choose firm 2. So it's not that you're prohibited and you can only choose one for each project. You just you go one at a time. Does that make sense?
It does, but I feel like we're a little bit hogtied here because we have no idea what our jumping off point is relative with one firm to another. I mean, I understand that rates change, people get raises, and that's all good. But we should be able to get a rate table from all of these firms to give us an idea of a jumping off point.
The idea under Florida statute is that it's 2-step, right? You start with qualifications, and qualifications under Florida law doesn't have to do with the price, right? Because price is negotiated separately under the 2 steps. So step 1 is qualifications, and that's the step that we're in is picking who is qualified and getting contracts with qualified individuals, right? If you pick 1, if you pick 2, if you pick 3, those are your qualified individuals. After that, you take a look at per project which of these individuals is most qualified. So let's, for example, say that contractor A has lots and lots of experience specifically in running or building a wastewater treatment plant, and contractor B has lots and lots of experience in road design and development, right? If you have a project that comes along, right, you've now contracted with both, you consider them to be qualified engineers. If you have a road project that comes along, you'll look at all three of your engineers. You'll see which one of them is the most qualified, right? So we're not talking about price, because this is the way that the Florida statute requires us to make this selection under the CCNA statute. You look at them, you decide who's qualified, and you start with that person, right? So if one person has 10 years of qualification in this, or 5 years, or however you decide, you start with them and you say, we think you're the most qualified for this specific project. Let's go ahead and negotiate a price. If you say, nope, the price is too high, we don't think that that's fair competitive price, then you say, no thanks, sorry, you terminate those negotiations and you move on to whoever you think is the second most qualified. You can get all the way down to the last one, decide that even their price isn't fair, and then go out and find additional qualified engineers. You have to go through the same process. But that's sort of the step-by-step.
Those negotiations, those are at the staff level, though. They don't come to us, right?
That is correct.
And then we're just going to vote on whatever
You would vote
Mr.
on,
Marshall brings
yes,
to us?
Yes.
Okay.
You have multiple firms under a continuing services contract. That's a little bit of a newer concept. So CCNA came out, it's probably 15 years ago that we started doing multiple firms under contract. Alachua probably has 5, I don't know specifically. Newberry got 8 responses from 8 very qualified engineering firms, and Newberry has contracts with 8 engineering firms. And when the project comes up, you select, well, who's really good at that. So you see, y'all are familiar with EDA. They bring in a lot of site and development work. Well, some of your city projects are for a water main extension through a residential part of town. Well, Ing-Denman is really tailor-made for that. Or if a project involves some planning work, then NV5 or EDA is JB Pro, very qualified for that. But if you decide to build the High Springs International Airport, you're going to get out of EDA's league, and you're going to start looking at a Kimley-Horn or a Woodard Curran, a larger firm, a full-blown wastewater plant. NV5 won't offer you a proposal. They don't have expertise in that. So once you have this list of engineering firms that can help you, transportation projects comes up. You're going to partner with the county in 4-lane 336 through Newberry. Kimley-Horn is a great transportation firm. They'd be a logical selection. I'm not saying they're the only logical selection, but Jeremy may come to you and say, we should seek a proposal from CPH, from Kimley-Horn, because they are experts in transportation. Woodard and Curran, we don't do transportation projects. We wouldn't be a candidate for that.
All right. Any other commissioner questions? All right, citizens.
Yes. I guess I'm confused. There's 3 different conversations here about Kimley-Horn and Woodard and whatever, and all of a sudden Mr. New gets up and starts talking about William and Kern. I'm not exactly sure, was he trying to advertise himself as someone else that you may want to consider rather than the 3 setups that you have here? I'm not sure why he was up here. He spoke a long time, and I wasn't sure what he was talking about.
Sure. So the resolution they're talking about right now is a continuing services engineering contract. Wood and Curran is the one that we're discussing. The next 2, one will be CPH, which I think is the next one, and Kimley-Horn. So Mike,
So they're not combined?
No, they're 3 separate.
I misunderstood you. I misunderstood you. I
Three
thought that was-
separate.
Okay, sorry, thank you
No
very
problem.
much.
All right, any other citizen comments? All right, well, we have a motion on the floor, and this is a resolution, so City Clerk?
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner Howell,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
All right, it passes. All right, discuss, consider, and act on resolution number 2026-C.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and Kimley Horn Associates Incorporated for continuing engineering services, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date. Mr. Mayor, this will look familiar as an agreement because it is basically the same contract. Again, happy to answer any questions, but the same concepts that we just talked about apply to this contract as well.
Did anybody from Kimley Horn want to speak?
My name is Jose Lopez with Kimley Horn. Just want to thank the board for their consideration and just look forward to continuing our relationship with the city. I'll save everybody a good amount of time. I think the previous gentleman pretty well explained the whole process. So once again, thanks for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any commissioner questions?
Mr. Mayor, I think we got all mine ironed out at the benefit of Mr. New. So I have no questions, sir.
All right, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the contract for Kimberly Horn.
Second.
All right, any citizen comments? All right, take it away, Angela.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner Howell,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. New business item number 4, discuss, consider, and act on resolution number 2026-D.
Mr. Mayor, this is Resolution 2026-D, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and CPH Consulting LLC for certain continuing engineering services, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date. Again, same as the last two.
All right, did anybody from CPH want to say anything?
See anybody here?
Any commissioner comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor, I think I just want to make it clear, clarify that CPH is now the new name for Midtower that we have worked with for quite a while, and they got bought out, I assume? They merged, or, okay.
Mr. Mayor, is CPH or Midtower the one that's supposed to be in control of the 236 sewer expansion? That we,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
All right, any citizen comments? I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the contract for CPH.
Second.
All right, take it away, Angela.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner Howell,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth.
Yes.
All right, city attorney report and update.
Mr. Mayor, on the dais in front of you, you all have an email from Christy. I just wanted to, I think this was sent out to each of you, but if you just give me at your convenience, doesn't have to be now, but just give us some feedback on which of these options you'd like us to go with, and we'll start moving in that direction. We're happy to do it. Essentially, you know, our recommendation is aligned with Christie's, which is that option 1 is a lot easier and is a lot quicker, and I think will give us the most bang for our buck and doesn't duplicate efforts that are already being worked on in your current LDR review. So, just the changing of a definition to make our definition section a little bit easier to understand can help us with the implementation of these CRRs, which is what we were talking about, maybe not last meeting, but the meeting before. So just any thoughts that anyone has on that will help us sort of get that ball rolling, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that anyone has.
All right, city manager update and report.
So the LDC analysis was completed, and Christy met with KCT today, went over the analysis. Really kind of took a look at where there's some vulnerabilities and what needs to be done within the LDC. The next steps is we're meeting in the end of February, and you will start seeing they have to go out to a big public event. We're by end of May, so we're hoping to get a table for KCT at Pioneer Days. So people, that's where a lot of citizens will be, and they can do a survey. I think that's the best chance for us to get the most surveys and most public input. And then there'll be workshops for the public, and also we're doing a workshop with the board, so the commission and the planning board. The fields that we resodded, you may have seen it on Facebook. They don't look good right now. Jen Appleby has been working diligently to get that taken care of, to the point where we have withheld payment. They are not getting paid. So I know there's a lot of citizens out there concerned. I drove out there today and looked at it. Concerns are valid, but it's not complete, and they're not getting paid until it's done to the standard. Again, the way I run projects, is it done on budget? Is it done to the standard? It's not done to the standard, we're not paying you until it is. Is that right, Jen? Did I say that right? Okay. And as Mike alluded to, next meeting, you're gonna get a presentation from Woodard and Curran. Myself and Mike New and Jason Keidel, not to get too much into it, because Mike will get into his presentation, but we have a drinking water project that we are proposing. What this project will do, will loop the system, which essentially will increase your pressure. As we get more people built onto the system, the pressure will go down, to the point that what concerns me is I hear from Chief Peters that sometimes developments, when they come in, they have to flow rate a hydrant, and some of our hydrants don't meet the standard or get real close to that standard, to the point where it may hinder development. So we're going to loop the system. We are going to make another well, get another well, and then another overhead storage, which also helps with it. That project is $19 million. Working with Mike, we put in an application, and in our first shot, we got $9.5 million in funding. So we have to, over the course of the next few years, while we develop this and go into the conceptual project of it, we will continue to find more funding sources to come up with the other 9.5 million. But you'll get a presentation next meeting on that award. That is my report.
All right, Commissioner Howell.
So last week I went to the school board meeting in reference to the boundaries and some of the changes that they're proposing. For High Springs, I think our only concern outright is the walking areas. It's a 2-mile zone. And for us, there's areas of, outside of 2 miles or inside 2 miles that don't have sidewalks, wouldn't be safe. It's something that we need to talk to the school board about. Second, there's going to be some closures in schools. There proposed change to close Foster, Rawlings, making Lincoln K through 8, making Oakview K through 8. There's a lot of changes around us that ultimately could affect our residences. So, we clearly, with having the Teacher of the Year, we have great teachers, we have a great school, and a lot of people in this area know that. With all these changes, there's a good chance there's more people that could move out here. So something to keep an eye on. They have, I think, 4 more meetings, and I can't find those dates offhand. But on the school board, they'll tell you which school they're at, and they've already had High Springs. I think that was the 5th. So just keep an eye on it and know what's going on with the schools. So second, speaking of Facebook, there was something else mentioned on Facebook about, forgive me, I'm gonna do this, there it is. That the downtown parking project was dead, and it's not. It is being delayed. As we all know, we've talked up here several times about audits and the audits being delayed, which is, it is a problem in itself. But due to that and the private interest in buying the Waterworks building, focus has been moved to the road by the brewery for the improvements there. So that project is still ongoing. It is delayed, but it's still there. So I know there was a lot of citizens that were concerned about that. So that's all I really have written down. So I think that was it.
Commissioner Howard, I did have a question for you. During that meeting at the school board, did they talk about Mabane?
Yes.
Because I know that they were proposing maybe some of the kids that live in that neighborhood that's on 441 to go to Gainesville instead of Mabane.
So
Turkey Creek, right?
Turkey Creek will be going to Talbot. And they are looking at closing Alachua Elementary, making Mabane K through 8, and making Irby K through 5. So the capacities in those 3 schools are probably, I don't have all the numbers in front of it, they're probably lower than anywhere else in the county. There's a lot of schools that are at capacity, if not over. So there very well could be a lot of changes coming.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask Commissioner Hall about something too? In Oakview, in terms of making that K through 8, is that in response to the elementary school going to charter?
Yes.
Because Oakview, I can speak from personal experience, all 3 of my kids went there. It is busting at the seams.
Yes,
I don't
so-
know how they have to adjust lines, I would assume, for who's zoned for Oakview at that point then, wouldn't they?
So they're going to make Oakview, they're going to reduce proposed number 2, draft A. Oakview would go with K through 8. And it roughly Archer would almost take half of that area where Oakview is now.
Yeah.
So it would take a lot of that capacity. But yeah, the charter school that's going into Newberry is going to be another part.
All right, Commissioner Grunder.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Commissioner White.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you bringing up the parking situation, Commissioner Howell. I had something, was going to talk about that as well. I just want to say that I appreciate the fact that the business owner emailed the commission. And I think that's definitely appropriate. But then when it gets out to social media, then things start getting a little riled up. And I got with Mr. Marshall, and he told me the same thing, that project is not dead. It's just had to maneuver because of some issues. But then other things that were mentioned in that are also seem to be really not completely accurate. And I was hoping that, Mr. Marshall, if you would be willing, maybe you and I could get together with this business owner so that we could meet with them and hear, because, this is I know the business he has, and it's a phenomenal business, and there's concerns here, and I'd like to know how he's getting this information that isn't accurate, because that's kind of dangerous. Once it hits social media, then it takes on a life of its own. So if you would be willing to, Mr. Marshall, I'd like to reach out to the business owner and set up a meeting so that we could address some of these concerns, because, I hate there being stuff out there that's not accurate. Mr. Mayor, I did follow up with the county at your direction at the last meeting about the joint city-county venture for a resource center and for the city that is no longer available. That ship has sailed. So we will no longer be able to partner with the county on doing that. So I was wondering, since they have a partnership now with a local resource center, the whole approach there last year was to try to pool all of the different entities into a singular point so that we could have, one entity. So we've got a lot of different, we've got the community outreach, we have the free food giveaway on Wednesday. I know a lot of churches do their own thing, that's really kind of separate in my mind, but would it be possible, since this is now a county-funded issue, would it be possible to have a workshop somehow with all of the entities involved so that we could get it all funneled through this singular point? With the Wednesday giveaway, we have continual problems with broken lines, broken infrastructure, on Railroad Avenue, and we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the money to keep fixing that. So if we could get Ms. James to partner with the resource that's already established and funded, we can pool those people together. There are some people that had expressed interest in helping when we talked about it being a city-county venture. I'd like to be able to redirect those folks to where that resource will be. Would it be, I've never met Ms. James, Mr. Marshall, I don't know if you have. If we might be able to reach out to her to have her partner in so that we could have a singular point. I know that we had talked about having all kinds of different resources with the county, ask a lawyer, Veterans Affairs, so, I assume that that's all gonna be available there now. And I had attorneys that were willing to volunteer their time. So I'd like to see if we can't funnel all of that effort into this singular point if possible. I don't know if that would require a workshop, if a workshop's even appropriate. Kirsten, maybe you can speak to that, because it's really not our lane now. So how do we help?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of the coordinating will go on sort of at the staff or individual level between the resources there that already exist and what we have. But I certainly think that, it may be appropriate for a workshop, or it could just be anyone who knows of any resources that may be able to be directed toward that establishment, sends those to Jeremy, and he can sort of act as the individual that says, okay, here are all the resources that we have, and we'd like to share them, and we'd like to push them here and see if we can set up a meeting sort of on that way. I mean, we can absolutely have a workshop on it if that's something that we want to do.
I don't know. I mean, it's something that we had hoped to partner, but
Sure.
now we can't. So I want to make sure I direct all of those people who wanted to help in the right direction.
I'll reach out to Miss James, and I'll reach out to the center that the
Okay.
county partnered with.
Okay.
Since they're gonna
Sure.
be the main hub, and talk to them and see what their ideas are. It's not, we could hold a workshop, there's nothing wrong with holding a workshop, but as you said, it's not our game
Right,
anymore.
right,
So
right.
it's kinda like, to me, it's, the city's still trying to be involved. It's not our show no more, but
Right.
it does affect our residents.
Right.
So maybe not so much hold a workshop, but get both of these entities together with any other resources, and we'll provide the commission room or something, and or the Civic Center, how big it is, and get them to start talking
Sure.
together. But unless you guys disagree, the city really doesn't have a part in it
Right,
as a
right.
city municipality, so
Right.
I think we should remove ourselves from it.
Okay.
But to support it, we'll provide the space, the time.
Sure.
And I'll absolutely sit in it because, it affects the citizens, so.
And then that could also free up the pavilion as well.
It could.
Public space, if we could
Sure.
partner and get everything going to one place that, maybe we could potentially help more people, that would be great. In terms of the certified recovery dwelling units, Kirsten, would it be possible for us to set up a workshop so we can have some Q&A? Because there's so much going on with these things that I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Would that
Sure.
be okay for you if we could set up maybe an hour before a meeting so that you could be here and help guide us through that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to do that. I think that it would be useful to have Christy there as well, because a lot of this is sort of the interplay between planning and law, and there's a little bit of overlap but not a lot of overlap. Some of these will be planning questions and some of them will be legal questions. So absolutely, I'm happy to do that. And obviously it's a new area of law, so if you ask me something I don't know, I will find out.
I would recommend, if we want to do a workshop and the commission agrees to doing a workshop, we should do that at the next meeting. Remember, this this was supposed to be passed, and we're already late on it. Again, talking to the state, they're not honest about it, and we haven't had any interest in this type of thing, but we need to get this passed. We're not compliant, and we need to get compliant with it. So if the commission wants, we can do a workshop the next meeting. But in the meantime, I really recommend you guys read this email from Christy and give her feedback on what option, because without the feedback and knowing what option you want to do, really, we're going into a workshop not knowing. So get back with Christy, let her know what option. I will echo, I agree with Christy and Kirsten, option number 1. It's what I feel strongly about, but again, take a look at it. It's up to you. Remember, this what you're passing isn't passing so much allow it, it's the procedure on how to handle a CRR. CRR?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
CRR. Yep.
And we talked about you mentioned a $250,000 grant at the last meeting that we had gotten, and now there's a potential of another $9.5 million grant.
2 separate fundings.
Right, but still, utilities work.
Sure.
And I mean, my concern is, and I need to say the quiet part out loud, we have no finance director. Our public works director has resigned. Who's going to manage these projects? I'm concerned.
I am concerned. So I have interviews. I don't know, Angela, did you set them up today? I think we're trying to do interviews for the public works director next week. We have a couple applicants that I want to talk to and see if we can get a public works director. The finance director, I think, closes next week. We got a few applicants. I think we're going to have to take a look at that and repost it. Not knocking any of the applicants if they're watching. It's just I think we need a better candidate pool for
Okay.
finance director. And in the meantime, I am talking through, I'm going to get the acronym wrong, FGO, the State Finance Association. I forget what the acronym is.
GFOA.
Yes.
You know it well, huh?
They have people who we can contract with to do it on a temporary. My main thing, and I've echoed it, I've said it almost every meeting, is this audit. We can't stall on the audit. So I've been working with the auditors. I'm not an accountant. It's above my skill level. So we have given the auditors access to Springbrook so they can pull the necessary reports, not our auditors, the consultant that we use that are helping us through. They can continue the reports and continue what they're doing so the audit's still going and we're not falling as far behind. Because remember, we're in the gray area with the actual auditors. The auditors are working on people who are compliant and they're going to get to us when they're done with that. So the consultant's still working, so we're not falling as far behind. So I'm looking at bringing in, I'm meeting with a lady that lives out in Alachua that was recommended to me, who's a former finance director, and I think she was a former city manager as well, to come in temporarily, like a 90-day, and keep things moving. We can't stop because over the coming meetings, you're going to hear more about the financial situation of the city. We got to make some changes.
Okay, so the audit is still, because I've got here, the
It's moving.
audit progress is going to be stalled, so we're not stalled at the moment?
Not stalled, but we're slowed.
So we're still going to be late.
And I called JLAC last week, and they gave us an additional 30 days from where they're going to take action. Remember, I said
Yeah,
we're
I
not
saw
going to get
that.
it done, but they gave us an additional 30 days. They know we're without a finance director, and they're willing to work up with us as long as they see motion.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I wanted to wish everybody in band a good luck this weekend. They've got solo and ensemble on Friday and Saturday, so it'll be a great time, lots of good music. And I just wanted to share with you gentlemen one thing. Somebody very, very dear to me shared a link to a sermon from a local pastor this past weekend, and he talked all about having a servant heart, and it just really, really spoke to me. And he said one thing that has just etched in my heart. He said that God is not looking for perfection in performance, but rather for our presence to do the work. And I I believe in us to do that. So, thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Bloodworth.
Well, that was going to be some of my question is, do we have any job applicants for either position, the finance director or public works? So you're saying we have some candidates for finance director and
So finance director is still open. We're doing interviews. I'm hoping to get them scheduled for next week. We got a couple I want to talk to that on paper, they look good for public works. Jason, when he was still here, looked at a couple of the resumes and he agreed that we should interview these people. The finance director, on paper, I think we need a better candidate pool. But I'm still going to talk to these people. They may work on it, but none of them are accountants. And the auditor has stressed that we need somebody who's good with the technical auditing or the technical accounting skills. We need a CPA. We can't afford a CPA, but we need a CPA. We need somebody technically savvy to get us through what we're looking at. And the applicants I have right now, I'm going to talk to, but on paper, I'm not liking what I see for finance. So I've talked to some people about what we're going to do with that position, maybe repost it, but I think we're going to have to get somebody in here temporarily to keep the momentum going.
well, with that being said, you know I had requested some numbers, and Ms. Wilson was going to start working on them, and you were aware of that. I'm wondering, am I going to be able to get those numbers during this time to be able to share with the rest of the commission?
I can try. I'm learning Springbrook. I can figure it out.
Because I think with the budget coming up, and what I've been trying to stress for the Public Works Department, we got some serious budgeting issues we're going to be dealing with. They need to know what I've been requesting so it can be shared.
Sure.
My next thing again, Jason, thank you for your service, buddy. I hope the people that are watching online realize what kind of individual we are losing here. I'm sorry what you've had to deal with, the pressure of putting a Band-Aid on everything here. That's why I'm worried about our infrastructure. He knew what was going on here. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I don't think any of us want to be in a hole waist deep full of sewer. They're the lowest paid people we got here. And when we do get somebody moved up, we get them trained, get them licensed, and where do they go? They don't stay here, they move on down the road. We got to do something about that. That's very important. I don't think anybody's going to say anything right now, but if sewer's backing up in their house, we're going to get some serious issues going on. I wish I could have brought a jar of sewage in here so everybody could see physically what these men have to go through. Jason told me the other day when that line broke down at Railroad Avenue, they had it all over them. I don't know if you guys can picture that, and folks online, I don't want to be in that hole. If we don't have sewer and water, we are not a city, people. And if we don't fix this problem, we ain't going to have a city. So I want to encourage you as a leader for this city, as city manager, I want to encourage you to stand strong and stand firm. It may not be the popular decision, but I want you to stand firm for this city. We need you here. And I don't care if some people are going to dislike what decision you make, but it needs to be the right decision for what we do for our city. This is our home, my home. I grew up here, grew up in the area. A lot of people out here watching, this is their home, they've been there all their lives, longer than I have. They don't want to see us lose our city. We got to have it. And if somebody don't like a decision you make, they just going to have to chill out. Because we got to have you be a leader for this town and for your employees. Appreciate your job. Let's get with it and get her done.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I wanted to ask about the 236 wastewater. Are we still delayed on that, or where are we?
Kirsten can jump in. We have the 236 wastewater project has been held up because we have an access issue with the neighboring parcel. There's a big field back there, and where the lift station and all that is going, it impedes his access to that. Also, it impedes the possible value of it because that's a developable area, and if we put the lift station where it's going to go, they it impedes access in there to where they could develop it. The attorneys are working with the parcel owners' attorneys to come up with a solution. We are really behind and really delayed, and I'm to the point where I'm nervous about the funding. But the attorneys are working the best they can to come up with an amicable solution that meets the needs of the parcel owner so we don't impede his access. I think they're meeting next week.
That is correct.
They're meeting next week with the attorneys, hoping to come up with a solution.
So we have a meeting next week with the engineer, the property owner's attorney, and I believe some members of city staff are coming as well.
So, and I know, so with this delay, I know there's a couple citizens that reached out about, you know, their septic probably gonna need to be replaced and may not be able to hold off. So if they get it replaced in 2 years, we get this project done, I know the statute says that if they have less than an acre, they can't have septic, you know. But if there's more than an acre, I just throwing it out there, we're not making any decisions. Would it be possible to discuss letting them run that septic longer before they're having to hook up? Because just something to think about. We don't have to talk about it. I just want to throw it out there and put it out in the universe. So
Let's discuss that more at the next meeting after the attorneys get done. The problem the city has, is our ordinance says that if sewer is ran in front, you have to connect to it. So
That's in accordance with Florida statute as well.
So if they, imagine their septic blows out this week and they put a new one in, and then this goes through 6 months later, they're required to hook up to it. So hopefully the attorneys can get something worked out at this next meeting. I think everybody's ready to sit at the table and get it worked out. Everybody's been trying to get this worked out, and we're trying to do what's right by the property owner. We don't want to impede access to property that they own, but at the same time, this benefits the city.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a quick question? On the design of this, the lift station is the issue with access for the adjacent property owner. Can we not just move the lift station?
We have run several different proposed solutions, both by the property owner and the engineer. That was one of the solutions. You would be surprised how much it costs to redesign just where the lift station is, because based on a shocking amount of money, and a shocking amount of money. So we're hoping that we don't have to do that. We're trying to come up with a solution that provides access in a way that does not require us to redesign where the lift station is. That's the hope.
But it is doable.
It is.
I've never met an engineer who says I can't design that.
I believe it's physically doable. The engineer is extremely. I would say I have not received a yes response of it can be done. It's been more to the tune of, well, you have no idea. I'm not even sure that I could do that. I have to look into it. It's cost so much money, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not even positive that that's the stance that our engineer is taking right now.
Well, but the engineer works for us.
I agree.
And we're trying to impact a property owner who is, his access issues are important.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, since y'all brought this up, I'm going to share my thoughts on this because I've been out there. I've met with Jason. I've met with the property owner. And I was going to wait till after the meeting, but since you guys have brought it up, it's out here now. I've been in there and I took pictures of this project. Where that lift station is to be placed is not a good place to put it. It's going to be in front of the gentleman's gate and in people's yard at the end of Mr. Grunder's road down there. It is going to be seen from 236. I've talked to the adjacent owner across the road from where the lift station. He's worried about his property cost. Is his value of his land going down? Where the individual's going to be put on his side of the road, it is definitely on top of his property. I don't know if the engineer went out there, don't have a clue. I'm proposing to move the lift station 2 roads to the south and put it on our property. behind the soccer field, behind trees where nobody sees it. It's behind our fence, matter of fact, that we can access it from the soccer field. I'm not an engineer. I don't have a clue that they can't change it. To me, that's where the lift station should have been. The job should have been designed from that point and went out. If it was behind those trees that I'm talking about, in our property, behind the fence, it's on our property, we can do what we want to. It's not an eyesore to the neighborhood. Where it is going to be, there is nothing around it. So I'm not going to go into the property owner's decision. That's going to be up to his lawyer and our attorney. But I can tell you, as sitting back as a citizen and a commissioner, this job is not right for this neighborhood. It is going to be wrong. I believe, I didn't stop at your place, but I believe you can walk out your front door and look at that lift station where it's proposed to go.
I could.
And apparently there is a gopher hole there. I saw the gopher hole. That's going to cost money to get that removed.
I like your idea.
I don't know that it can be moved, but also, like Mr. Marshall said, we're on a timeline now. I don't know when the scheduled project date would be ending. Do we have that?
I don't have that date.
Is
I
it
know
this
that
year, or is it
I'm
next
not
year?
sure. Let
I
me
don't
get that,
know.
I'll get that for you at the next meeting after the
So that
attorneys
could be a
talk.
potential issue right there. If they don't get this resolved time-wise, we're going to lose this job, lose this project.
we know that we are up against time limitations. So I can assure you that at the meeting next week, and we already have, we are exploring every possible option, trying to weigh speed, cost, efficiency, access issues, all of those. So that it's definitely a delicate balance, but rest assured, we are looking at every possible avenue to get this resolved.
Before we adjourned, did the commission decide, did we want to do a workshop at the next meeting for the recovery houses? Are you guys okay with that? Okay. Good with you, Kirsten? Danielle will be here, I think, so, right?
It's Danielle's meeting.
Yeah, okay, we'll get that on.
All right, so my only question is, Commissioner White's brought it up about the food giveaway on Wednesday. Are we still dealing with them busting pipes and things? Is it the location that's the problem? You know, is there a solution to that?
We're gonna, I think this meeting with, that I said I'll try to set up with, Ms. James and the person that got the funding from the county to see if we can get a better solution and try to get it away from the pavilion. But I'm gonna meet with them, see what their solutions would be.
Cause see, I don't think that you're gonna be able to move it to where they have that, cause that parking lot is tiny.
Yep, I agree.
On that, can I make a comment on what I was down there Wednesday. From, I can't remember the road number, from where Allen Chapel is coming west to the pavilion, they're now parking on the railroad bed. Somebody went in there and cleaned it up. I don't know if we did, but they've got the tree limbs trimmed and they're too deep in there to Allen Chapel Road. And then where they're running over on the parking on the side of the road is Allen Chapel East. But before they were on the Railroad Avenue all the way up to where they turned to go in the pavilion. So that line, I think we talked about, I mentioned it here a while back, that is an old line. I've talked to Jason about it beforehand. It's in bad shape. The pressures of cars going over that, I don't think that line was designed to drive on that. So something is going to have to be done. But I talked to Mike today and I saw there's new signs up there and they fold over when somebody runs over them. Hopefully they don't run over them. They're there to tell people not to park here, but that's what's going on with that situation as well.
So have we entertained another location? Cause I got a location in mind. Have we entertained another location?
We haven't, but I'm open to any ideas.
I was thinking about the museum because of the fact that it has that loan from the police station all the way, and then they can go right out to 27. If you come by the funeral home and you curve
I'm
them.
not following you, but I could take. I'm not following you. Run it by me again.
So the
route.
funeral home where the police station is.
Sure.
Back here.
Yeah, if you come in, if that's where they come in at, and then you take them out towards 27.
I will see if that worked for him.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question? At this juncture, would it not maybe be appropriate to just change the business model? Rather than having people drive through and have you put food in their trunk, the idea now is that there's a standalone place where they could go any day. That was my understanding. You know, they've got food stored there, they've got other services there. Would it be appropriate at this time to just change that? That's a COVID business model, you know, when nobody wanted to come in contact with people. And I know there's a ton of volunteers that help with that Wednesday giveaway that would probably be willing to volunteer here as well. Would it be time to change that approach? I guess would be my question.
See
Sure.
what, you know.
Okay.
And we really don't, that's not a city program,
Right,
you know,
right.
so.
Well, but I mean, the one on Wednesdays does impact city
Sure.
property.
And I
So,
understand that, so we could
yeah.
talk to them and see if they're willing to use Mayor Miller's idea or change the model the way you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to them and see what we can do.
And then my last thing about the Community Resource Center, maybe what we can do, since we're not really involved in that process anymore, maybe just reach out to all the other ones and then just get their information and give it to that one resource center. And then when somebody comes to that resource center, they can say, hey, X, Y, and Z does this, that, and the third, and they just give them a list of everything that's going on in High Springs, instead of us trying to be the mediator between these different ones, because if they're not working together right now, they're not going to ever work together. So I think we should just kind of get the information, give it to them, and then just have them do the directing.
You don't think we could get them to work together?
I've been doing nonprofit for quite some time. I don't think
That'd
you
be
know
a big no.
All right, I entertain them.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask Jason by any chance if there's any way we could convince him to stay? I appreciate that. I don't want to put you on the spot. Sorry. We're going to miss you a lot. I so moved.